Good evening, everybody. This is Michael Filigera. I am with logicalsignals.com and also tradershoppingtraders.com. And this is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Monday, July 12th, 2021. Markets continue to truly follow current analysis in subdividing, but continuing the advance. So I continue to adhere to the count that we are in the process of tracing out a sub-minute wave 5. And within that sub-minute wave 5, it is subdividing quite well, actually. And so what we've got so far, and this would be on a sub level, is sub-level minute wave 1. Then we have a wave 2. And as we move into the third wave, it subdivides twice. And there's another 1, 2, and a 1, 2. And then that's 3, 4, 5 of 3, 4, and we're in the fifth wave of this, what will form the third wave from this level. So we've now 1, 2, 3 finished this level. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete this next level up, which would be the third wave. So we partially completed it. So we finished this first subdivision on a sub level, I think 4 actually. And then we've not finished this. So remember, I've been talking about for a while as we trace out these impulse moves, that as they subdivide, we then begin to do stair steps on the way up, because this is a sub-minute 5, and that's going to be completing a minute 5, which is completing a minor 5, which is completing an intermediate 5, which is completing a primary third. So you can see how many degrees we have as this all comes to a conclusion. And so we have broken down the count as to be as accurate as possible as to be zoned where I think this is all going to be done, and we move into a next larger correction. And that continues to adhere to what we've already laid out. So just to kind of review how I continue to stair step is that as I complete all of these different layers, I then can go up to the next layer, because I realize that I still have, this is only finishing the third wave of sub-minute wave 5 is breaking down. So this new high that I'm expecting now would complete sub-minute wave 3. So we still have another 4 and another 5. And this next 5 could also subdivide. So we still have some ground to cover, and could all happen in a day, could happen in 2 days, 3 days. We have to now wait and see. But as we continue, I can now put on an additional layer. First thing I want to do, let's go over and remove, it's already gone. So I'm going to go over to my extensions, and I'm now going to put in the next layer to where we think this 3 can end. So I need to go from this, the bottom of wave 2, to the top of wave 3. All right. There to the bottom, this small 4. Okay, so I'm going to go down even further because they're going to get bunchy. So here we are, and now I am expecting this 5th wave, but now we've added where this 5th wave should go. And those are going to be the closest that we have. And we're getting definitively above this particular level. The next up, 14,910, we'll call it. So that's next resistance, but where the cluster really kicks in is right here. And this level says 618 at 14,937. That is where this fifth wave in action would be 0.618 of the third wave, most common relationship. So that puts this cluster into high gear as far as containing this third wave, turning the market lower again in a fourth wave correction, which we will be able to put parameters around that. But right now, I would expect it to come into the territory of this corrective phase we just did. So wherever this tops out and then turns lower, this is the area I'm looking for it to come in. So you can kind of gauge the depth of what you're expecting in terms of a correction. And we can do definitive Fibonacci's once that is in place. But once it is, then it just completes the total third wave. And then once that fourth wave is done, then I can add the final layer, which would cover the sub-minute wave 5 of sub-minute wave 5, et cetera, et cetera. So we already have everything else laid out. So it would just be that final layer of Fibonacci, and it's going to get a little crowded, but we should be able to figure them out, because as we go up, the rest will shift and we'll be able to see them more clearly than these, because then you'll be able to know which one we're on. I know it can sound a little bit confusing, but this is how you kind of gear your way up to the top. You now can put numbers around it. So a lot of things can happen up here that still would suggest that this market is going to get above 15,000. The NASDAQ will get above 15,000. And it's sincerely, it is what, 125 points from here, 25 bucks. This market, if it decides to truly blow up to finish 125, nothing. Because I think as it breaks resistance, it kicks off a lot of orders, a lot of changing, a lot of rotation. So that's what I think we're going to see. And as the options trade and everything trades, the underlying trades, et cetera, et cetera. And so it all combines, and then we get to do it here. So right now, I continue to feel that once we get that completion, and that's what we're in the completion, the finishing wave to complete wave 3. Okay, nice third wave, by the way, right? Strongest, longest, it fits, characteristics, everything fits. This was the 3 of 3, beautiful. This is where we gained the most. This was a 4, which is a sudden drop, but it was nothing more than just corrective, but they kind of came in, boom, we're getting out. And it was perfect, held support, and now we're just climbing again. So we're finishing the third. So I wouldn't be expecting to see something like this. Maybe like this. Maybe we'll get some of that as this pushes up. Because we're just basically finishing the third. This is a little 4, and then it should push its way up. And then I'll put the final layer. But right now, these are our clusters. So this, anywhere from here to finish wave 3, perfect. And they line up very nicely. The internals line up very nicely for the wave 5 to finish up right here. Pull back, go at it again. We continue to have a cluster right there because it just continues higher until we get up to 15,017, 18. Then we form another cluster all the way up to, again, that 618 level. And it's 162%, but still it's a derivative of 0.618. Comes in up at 15,000, tell me that. 15,150, 15,150, actually 52, but We would move it to 50. So we got some very high numbers, and we can, once 3 is done, we have a 4th, and then we still have a 5th wave. Then that 5th is going to be related to this larger 3rd, but the 5th can also be related to the 1st. And because we're in a finishing position, I will pull out all of those relationships so that we can get a clear vision and see if we can't track this to the tippy top. Downside right now should continue to be shallow until we finish wave 3, and then we're going to come down in that 4th wave. Should come back into here. Wherever this ends up, this is where it should come back. So if it gets all the way up to here, it's going to be a quick slam, right? It's a quick $200 down. And so it's 200 points. And that can happen just as easily as it can go up at any of these levels. Okay, so but once done, put the finer layer on, and we've been looking for up and down. Again, with that 618 derivative coming in up 15,152. So I've got that cluster all up in here, and this one. So limited downside, except for a nice little clean slam. If we get this 3rd finished, that's what I'm going to look for. Quick, sharp zigzag. If it just consolidates, then understand for sure that this thing is going to go. If they consolidated up here, or they pull back maybe a little bit, but they just do a series of 3-wave up and down, up and down, up and down. Could be a little triangle, all kinds of things. So my first thing would be, it should be sharp. It should be a zigzag. Boom, 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 done. Off we go. This is burning up time rather than price. So bear that in mind. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'm rambling on long enough. And the next update will be Tuesday the 13th.